Whispering shadow secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room. Chandeliers and crystal tears reflect forgotten yesteryears, softly chanting distant cries. Through the arches sorrow sighs. Gargoyles watch with stony gaze, guardians of endless maze. Pipe organ's breath begins to rise, filling air with mournful ties. Whispering shadow secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room.
And probably vanish early to
Good
Captain.
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Lady Red, Black Pants thing. Lictor, also Black Pants thing. Hi, how are you?
Also, crab thing on my shoulder.
Crab thing on your shoulder, doing a sneaky peeky. Hello,
Yes.
chat. Is everything working? I'm hoping everything is working. OBS tells me it is, but I don't trust it.
Do not trust OBS.
Don't trust OBS. Don't trust the dogs. Especially don't trust the dogs. Sounds working. Good. I missed you guys
Herman
last
Bagel.
week. I really wanted to stream, and all there was in my house was boff, 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 because fence.
Yes. Activate Beagle or active probe.
Oh my goodness, they have been informing me consistently for days in a row, every 10 minutes, that there are in fact people in our yard. Never mind that the people in our yard are there making them a yard they can run around in. No, we must borf. But on the upside, you know, the house will never get burgled because just yelling dogs.
Yes.
That said, the fence project is going very, very well. Once the city finally was like, yes, you can just do the things. Go, do thing, have fun. It looks really nice, and it really sort of brings into perspective just how much land we actually have around our house. It's a weird plot we live on, but the dogs are going to have space to run around, and I'm going to be able to grow things, and it's going to be awesome. So it's been worth it. But it did mean I missed you guys last week.
We were not available.
Bearstone says, as hounds do, got beagles myself, so I know. Yes, depending on how many you've got, I imagine you also know the joy of, yes, I must vacuum my house every single day, because even though all of these toys have been killed and shouldn't have any fluff left in them, they still find fluff somehow. Hello, Doctor Who! I hope you are having fun at Gen Con and didn't die in the near crush accident that was admissions. I have seen the video, and oh my god, I can't believe that my health and safety brain seeing Gen Con this year was just like, no, there is not enough liability insurance in the world. Oh my god. Anka is a fiend for cardboard. Her mother and her father do also like to shred it, but not nearly as much as Anka does. She thought she was being clever yesterday. She stole a receipt off of my desk and took it into her little personal pup cave to shred it to pieces, so... Doctor Who says, I'm an exhibitor, so I went through the back. Very sensible. very sensible and probably safer.
Probably. That only means he gets smooshed later on when people pile on him and say, "Show me."
Just, make sure you know where your nearest fire exit is, please. That is a lot of people. Good lord. Grimo says, I got my eyes poked twice this week. For good reasons? Oh, new glasses. Okay, that's fine. Carry on. Carry on. The exhibition hall is way too smushed. Yeah, just please. I used to be a health and safety officer at a care home. My brain works in certain ways. Please, just make sure you're aware of where your nearest fire exit is and the shortest way to get there. Please. Please be safe. Have fun, but be safe.
Please. Space important.
Yes.
Do not smash. When space gets smashed, you get black holes. Black holes make crimes happen.
They do. They do. So I have some news about stuff that will be happening tomorrow, if people would like to know. And I'll probably mention it again before end of stream if we end up with more people. But thank you, 33 of you are here already, and I am very appreciative, especially as I have not been here much recently. So thank you all for coming to join me. But I do have some news. The Goob Drive for the Bachal art piece will begin tomorrow. I have delivered the final items needed for it to Diggs. It will begin on Striker's stream. And for anybody who wasn't sort of here at the beginning of the year or didn't know about what was happening, Ilkhan Stormsong of Clan Badhonts issued a Bachal to the auxiliary for all of your artistic and creative endeavours. And then we went through all of those different ones. I say I was sadly not available for judging, but there was some awesome stuff that the members of the Orcs put forward for consideration. Just all sorts of things. We had people who'd made knives, we had gunpla kits, we had mini painting, drawing, cloth and textile arts, everything in there. And all of it was awesome. But we did ultimately come down to a winner. And that was Ibex, who you can find over in the Orcs, under the unique role of Gundam Lord for winning. But part of the prize, in the biggest inverted commas, was helping to dictate what the next Goob Drive would be. And we knew it would be a while before I could get to it, because life is insane and I get to work on all kinds of cool things now and there's not enough hours in the day. But the time has finally come. I'm going to be drawing the art piece. Ibex has dictated the direction that it will take. I think you guys will really like it, and it will do a really nice honouring of the effort everybody put forward at the beginning of the year. Ibex's ideas were really, really good. The art drive for that will start tomorrow. We are asking for 9,001 goob. Purely because you guys managed to somehow raise 8 million in 3 weeks last time. So this time, it's over 9,000. Yes, 9 mil. It is 9 mil. Obviously, the joke is the DBZ, but yes, it is going to be over 9 million. You guys did 8 million last time. You're going to do 9 million this time. 9 million and one. It will begin tomorrow with Striker's stream. Please do feel free to donate, but there is something else exciting that goes with it. We were able to achieve partner status on the channel some time ago, and partner status comes with all sorts of perks, because Twitch is like, oh yeah, no, you've earned partner status and now we're going to agree that you exist and give you all these extra things you can do. So there's going to be badges to go with it. You can earn a unique badge for the amount of watch time that you put in, and a unique badge if you sub during the event. I'm not telling anybody that they must do these things. I'm just letting you know it's there. I designed the badges today. That was what Diggs was waiting on. And yeah, it will start tomorrow. So you'll get little badges. I already know what the badge is going to be for the December Goob Drive. Yes, watch time, I say. It does not have to be a hell of a lot of watch time to earn the badge. So, please don't feel you need to go out of your way for this. I think most people will just naturally earn it with watch time, regardless. You'll get little badges for that, which will be kind of cool, hopefully. I know what the badge is going to be for the December Goob Drive, and that's my other piece of news. My wonderful editing team, specifically Paladin Rose, who you will occasionally see here in the channel, have gone through the entirety of Hungry Like the Wolf and pulled out.
Oh no.
She has pulled out every single spoken line, and she's been very good. I gave her some specifics of how I wanted everything formatted for when I hand this off to our voice actors. She's gone through the whole thing, pulled out every spoken line into individual files, and she's done the whole thing. So we are now at the point where the scripts for our voice actors are about 75% done. Aiden is due to do the next pass over them to add in some direction notes. And then I will be doing the final pass. And then they'll start going out to our voice actors, who are all going to get dragged into the world's most cursed Discord. And that will be December. There will be a Goob drive for that in December. And if we hit the Goob amount, there will also be an additional short story, a sort of post-book short story, if we raise that Goob amount. I already know what the plot of that is going to be. The people who've been told it think it's hilarious, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So that's sort of everything going on in terms of Red ruining the Twitch channel. And also Doctor Who ruining the Twitch channel, because yes, it is his fault that Hungry Like the Wolf ever happened, because he bought me a copy.
Yes, it is his fault eventually. Right after chat.
I mean, he's in chat, so it counts. It's both.
It's both. Like, it's the personalization. Does that mean that Doctor Who is essentially the Vox Populi of chat?
Right
Discuss.
now, yes.
Very good.
Can we go to Dairy Queen? I mean, I'd like to.
I
In the
mean,
story, I haven't determined the exact locations I'm going to set things yet. I've got the most important plot points and the stupidity that I want to have happen, and the canon stuff that the short story will be poking fun at, because holy hell, there is so much dumb shit that happens because of in and around Alaric Ward, because we had deadlines and no time to actually think any of this through, and all of this is very stupid. And yeah, I'm going to poke fun at it, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I've also stolen an editor specifically to look over that story when it's done. If you're familiar with Admiral Sen, who is also a Black Pants Legionnaire, but was also a Orcslander beforehand, a very active Orcslander, a wonderful man. Please go to Kung Fu Dojo Nights, they're hilarious. He is going to be specifically my chosen editor for the short story. So, you can also blame him, which is wonderful.
I'm currently working on something to torment Red with.
Uh-oh, what are you up to?
I'm working on the chibi.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so, again, people who haven't been here, if you're not familiar, Lictor is running a 40k game, a Rogue Trader 40k game on alternate Saturdays for me and a group of people. And we've been having a fun time. We stole an elf. It's been a whole thing. And the intention is next year to see if we can get the time to collaboratively work on a comic strip to deliver the nonsense from that game to all of you. It's probably going to be in like chibi style, because I want to try and be realistic about my time. Has the elf gotten a new arm yet? His arm is grown, we just haven't attached it yet. My character has done sufficient bleeding for the arm to happen.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. It's nearly there. We just got to finish dealing with the current problem we're dealing with, and then maybe we can, duct tape it onto him and everything will be fine. So yes, the intention is to look at maybe doing a comic next year and deliver everything to you guys, and you'll be able to enjoy that. And, that should help Lictor and I continue our development as artists as well.
Yes.
Bearstone says, do you have voice actors in mind? I do for the current project. This has been sort of something that's been ongoing through the year. I have my cast list for this particular audiobook. If it goes well, and touch wood, so far the way I thought would be best to organise this has been working really efficiently. I don't know whether that will continue once we get to the hard part, but at the minute it's going well. If it goes well all the way through, I will possibly be making future audiobooks of other projects, at which point, of course, I will be looking for voice actors for different things on an ongoing basis. And that will be something I'll be very happy to put out to the community for various things. So, voice actors for this, yes. Voice actors for the future, watch this space.
I mean, Hefner deserves a voice acting.
Hefner would be interesting, and that one's going to be really, really interesting because I'm probably going to be quite picky with that because that's my personal setting, and I've been working on that for years, and I have very, for certain characters, I know exactly how they sound, and I'm probably going to be a difficult pain in the butt, which is why it's great I now have an editor team, because one of the really important things when you get to doing larger scale productions is having people around you who can slap the back of your hand and say, no, stop it, you're being unreasonable and this is going to be terrible. So yeah, we'll figure out. But it would be nice to have audiobooks of Hefner when that's all finished, because I'd like to think they're quite fun stories.
Yeah, we need to read more of them.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we'll see how we get on today, and if I've got some ideas for today, and I've also just noticed that I currently have us on the wrong page on Shoal. There we go. We're supposed to have that up to start with, but it's pretty obvious what we're doing this week. I have done no writing for this week because we need to solve some problems, and that's what we're going to do. But yeah, if we get far enough through everything that we want to do today, or we get fed up and we just want some light reading to finish up with, I have Hefner stuff I can read at you. Simey says, no, let go of baby. Let them walk on their own for a bit. You're exactly right. You are exactly right. Micromanaging your baby is not always the correct thing once you get to a certain point. Van Zandt stories. I'd be interested in writing some Van Zandt stories, among other people. Doctor Who says, you did no writing because I made some problems visible. Yes, you and multiple others, including myself, because when we were reading last time, there were some things that came up, and then, of course, you put it into very comprehensive and easy to understand and digest words in the Orcs Doctor Who. We have hit some snags, and that is perfectly normal when you've done a huge world-building project and then you start writing your first novel. And we technically started writing our first novel a little bit early. If this was something I'd been doing just for myself, like with Hefner, probably would have done a bit more work on the compendium and settling some things in stone before starting the first novel. But because we're doing this as a stream and communally, we started a little bit early. But even doing it the other way, with Hefner writing my stories for that, I have hit points where I've hit snags and I'm like, well, I had a general idea of this. I didn't realize it was going to be this important. And now I need to understand how this element specifically works because it's affecting my story. And if I don't fix it now, I'm going to end up with inconsistencies if I continue to write in this setting in the future. We've basically hit that with Shoal. We've hit a problem that we now need to have some definitive solutions for, and things that we said at the beginning of the book that, well, we know this could be a problem, but we'll solve it later when we know what it feels like. We've now hit that point. We are at the point where we need to be a little bit firmer on exactly how Titans work, on exactly how pilots are chosen and what makes a good pilot and what doesn't. We need to think about how Jake's psionics work in a little bit more detail. And also, it's probably time that we really had to think about his suit. At the beginning, we knew the definitive way that his suit worked and his hab works would be something that we'd need to settle in stone, but we didn't make any definitive hard decisions then because we felt like we needed to play through the book a little bit further. We've now played through the book quite a lot further, and I think it's time that we made those decisions. This is a normal part of the world-building process when you've got something like Shoal. And yeah, that's what we're doing this week. We're going to see if we can solve some of those problems. I'm also just choking on the ability to breathe.
Yes, which is fundamentally one of the things the suit does.
Yes, the suit breathes some way or the other. Lady Red, however, not always.
Lady Red, you are not a suit. Just
okay, out. I can breathe.
Yes.
I can breathe. Okie dokie.
Honestly so.
So yeah, that's going to be the plan for this week. If we want to do any more wittering before we get started, I'm quite happy to do so. But yes, the only thing that I think might be a problem in inverted commas, which is to say something that I want to bear in mind, is I'm not sure if Ed is with us this week, and Ed has been a very important part of the Shoal
Ed
project.
has been in chat.
Oh, fantastic. Ed is here. That's very reassuring. Thank you for being here, Ed, because I absolutely want your input to be part of this because you have been so instrumental in certain elements of what we're going to be putting together. I can see Introspective is also here. In fact, many of our usual suspects are here. Zork is here, so I'm sure we'll walk away at the end of the day with at least one war crime.
Yes.
Many of us are here, yes. That's very, very good. I'm really glad because I know things have been a bit up and down with my stream schedule lately, so I appreciate all of you.
I also appreciate all of you. I just think that some of you are more inclined to certain peculiarities of this universe than others, which is okay. Specialization is how we get shit done.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably going to be a little bit of contention about certain things we decide this week. That's also normal when you're doing communal work. One of the benefits of communal work is people will have ideas you would never have thought of. The downside is you can feel very strongly about something and it might end up getting vetoed. So for anybody where we make a decision that you don't agree with long term, I'm sorry and thank you for all of the input you will have put into it, and nothing stops you from writing Shoal the way you want to write it. Nobody is going to tell you that you are not allowed to do that because Shoal belongs to all of us. If the definitive way that we decide to write things down that, I will be counting as the way things work doesn't work for you, by all means, write an AU where things work your way. I just want people to create and have fun. Yes, the idea gumbo shall be delicious. And if any of the bits that you like get picked out or stuff that you don't like gets added in, you are very welcome to make your own gumbo on the side and enjoy the heck out of it. Okay, Ed has just linked some suit notes. That will be very, very helpful. All right, let me move over to Shoal, and we will move into the specific page we're going to be working on today, which is this snag solving section. So I've split it into three main things I would like to talk about this week, and then space for anything else we think we need to talk about underneath. I want to talk about how do Titans work and the need for a pilot. I know we've answered some of these questions, but I think we need to just have a nice big old chat about them. I'd like to talk about pilots themselves. How do they work? What is their aptitude? Why do some people become pilots and some people don't? Why is it that not everybody can be a pilot? That sort of conversation. And then number 3, I want to have a chat about how Jake's suit works. The reason I've put them in this order is because where we're at with the novel right now, the first 2 are the things that we really need to work out because it will allow us to answer the question of how is Jake instrumental to solving the current problem in the story in a way that is consistent with how we want the world to work moving forward forever. So that's why those 2 are the most important. But then figuring out Jake's suit and, his hab as well should be in here. Having that discussion would be very good as well if we get time, which we probably will. Especially as we're going to start moving into things that I know I need you guys for. This is a conversation I've had with Lichter. There are elements of writing that I feel very confident in. There are genres and types that I feel very stable on my foundation. There are other areas I know I have a weakness. For me, I am particularly good at writing fantasy, dark gothic. I can do romance, which I've learnt through the course of the last year or so. I'd never really tried before, but I'm fairly stable on what to do with romance now. Where I fall down is anytime maths decides to get into the equation, or hard science when it comes to things like physics and advanced chemistry. And it's not because I don't have an interest, it's not because I don't think it's important, it's just because of the way my brain works. I get to a certain point where my brain turns to soup and I just want to hand wave certain things, which up to a certain level, you can do. However, it is quite often to pass beyond that point, and you need to have something a little bit harder and a little bit more well-researched and a little bit more grounded, and that makes the story better. One of the things that was really awesome when we started Shoal was Ninja Turtle coming in and just making a diagram of how the orbit works. Yes, the math don't want to math. Inside my head, math never wants to math. It is my weakest subject. I can passably do enough math to get by in life, but I'm not good at it. And I'm not good at certain other areas of science. So when it comes to things like massive sizes and pressure and all of that sort of stuff, a lot of the knowledge that you guys have will cover my gaps. So having you guys here is very helpful for that. Ed says, as much as I want to lay out the hab in exacting detail, it's not important to the story. No, but having a vague idea of how it works, and we can be a little bit more hand wavy with it, but I think we need to have conversations like, is it how does it collapse? Is it air filled inside? And if it is it because it's made out of some, alloy that humans have discovered since expanding into space that doesn't exist before, and it's much stronger, but this means that, the hab is a particularly valuable thing that Jake has. Just those sorts of generalist conversations, so we know how the hab functions, and if we have to invent an unobtainium miraculoid to cover for it, that we know that that's what we're doing, and then we just make a list of what that thing is, and we go from there. But at the minute, it's a little bit vague and wishy-washy because I've done what worked for the story, but we can put some harder limits on it.
Agree. I mean, my opinion. Most of the chat knows my opinion as well. Science is good as a background for the most part. We don't need a lot of hand-wavium for the human side of tech. We're assuming a lot, but we can explain a lot of things with what we know about the universe.
Yeah. We don't need to get down into the deep depths of equations and exact pressure and etc. But there are some things that are just kind of floating around up in the air that I think we need to just put some firmer guide rails on. And then we don't actually need to get into the nitty gritty. Just say, okay, it works because of this theory. That's it. But I think that will help.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Just some
So
things
how
to
do you
chatter about today.
How do we want to put the breacher charges on this conversation?
Good question.
Because if you ask a tiny, insignificant, small, and irrelevant, trivial question about one of the most faintly mentioned portions of our setting, such as, Titans, which definitely do not appear in the center stage of anything we do. They are just, pieces of the background, like a stealth atlas that just sits there and everybody agrees to ignore.
I love that the stealth atlas has kind of become a thing of this stream, but unless you've been paying attention to the nonsense that goes on here, you have no idea what that is.
Saying that, in my tiny little preamble, How Do Titans Work has a few portions to it. It has the question of power source. It has the question of mobility. It has the question of sensors. It has the question of computation. And finally, it has the question of weapon systems. In order to make it into a mecha, as in a large robotic thing that can swim, shoot, command, and operate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the questions that you need to answer in order to.
So I think what we should do then is we start bullet pointing out what we currently know about how Titans work, and then we figure some stuff out from there. So at this very basic, Titans are machines that have coral components that allow...
Crow has not microwave tea today.
Does that
They
mean
have made
because you
solar.
don't have tea, or...
No, they have solar tea today.
Okay.
They have done the Dixie line thing.
Pained red noises. Okay, Titans are machines that have coral components that allow them to function as more than just your average industrial equipment.
Correct.
We know that they are able to have matrices complex enough to make them individual people with individual personalities. Titans cannot function, cannot mobilely function without a pilot. And we have some stuff on this already. A pilot is, oh, for goodness sake, I can't spell today. A pilot is needed as coral cannot move in people reaction times. So being bonded with a person lets it react at our speed, not the speed of coral growth.
Correct.
I also have it in my head, and you guys will tell me whether I'm right or wrong about this and whether you have opinions on it. Titans can talk and think without a pilot on board. They just can't move or use their equipment without a pilot in active concordance, which is their... How do we feel about that?
Here, we just ran into a snag.
Okay.
This point conflicts with the point before it. I'll explain.
Okay.
Not again, I might be obtuse, but the way I see it, the temp score. Okay, it all begins with when I laid out the first points of power source, movement, computation, sensors, weapon systems, and defensive systems, which I've rolled into weapon systems. It boils down to how surely technology as a whole works, how what we call computation works. They don't have what we have in tiny chips that have pre-programmed actions and reactions built into them in order to make things work. They don't have that. They have coral, which they grow into the shape they need in order to create Titans or any other machine they have, essentially. They don't have computations like us humans. And the point about it is that all surely machinery requires input from a surely to function. They don't think about it because all of them are surely and everybody can use it. But unlike humans, you don't have buttons that operate normally. They have their own technology, which is alien to us humans, because the entire method of computation and miniaturization, everything that's more advanced than mechanics, than mechanical movement, has to be controlled with coral and interfaced with coral. It doesn't have to be concordance, but it has to be controlled with coral. Concordance is what happens when a Titan, which is infinitely more complex and need to react on infinitely smaller time frames in an infinitely more adaptive situation, requires this level of interface. If you just need to move an arm from point A to point B, you can use a non-pilot. Or rather, the level of interface is so low that nearly anyone can do it, provided they had some connection. And that leads to also the, if we remember the tone deaf, surely, they are limited in what sort of surely tech they can operate because they don't have that interface. This is exactly what pushes them aside from normal society. It doesn't mean that they don't have a role, it just means that they lack an ability that most surely have. I'm veering far away, but I feel like this is sort of a core point we've addressed in the past. Now, Titans who are paragons can talk and think without a pilot in concordance because they have achieved a semblance of concordance with themselves. This is what separates a paragon from a sleeper. A sleeper doesn't talk and doesn't have a personality because they don't have the time frame to do it. A
Okay, so
paragon,
I think we need to, focus on one thing at a time then, because what we're talking about here is, Titans. Let's click over to Titans. Is taking into account the fact that we do have these different kinds of Titans. So when I was having the thing I was saying here about Titans can talk and think without a pilot on board, but they need a pilot to move at, more than the speed of smell. I'm thinking of paragons, and you're right. We do have Titans that are not paragons that can be piloted by more mundane people, because you don't have to have that higher level of what should be concordance. I agree with that, but that's part of the problem. I was generalizing when I should have been being more specific. I'm thinking paragons here.
yes, we had that, and this is why we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, true Titans, awakened Titans require technology from audit. Okay, yes. So we've got some notes here. All right, so, okay, let's go back to our list of notes then and continue adding to it so we can really hammer things down. Okay, so still true that Titans cannot mobilely function without a pilot. A pilot is needed because Coral can't move in people reaction times, so it has to have somebody on board. Okay, so let's then be more specific. Sleeper. I can't spell today. Sleeper Titans, Sleeper Titans who are more like advanced industrial frames do not need such complex pilots as let's use the right term, Paragon Titans. Okay. It's Paragon Titans. One of the things I think we need to add in here is some Titans will only ever be Sleeper Titans as they do not have the Coral Matrix type to awaken. Titans that do become paragons always have the more complex and fully developed matrix.
Correct.
There we go. Okay, so that's helping to pin down some more of our rules.
That matrix is always temps, Coral.
Temps is the part that makes it more complex, yeah. Temps, oh my goodness, why can't I spell today? Temps corals are the element needed for the most complex types in sufficient quantity and alignment to allow personality to grow. Okay, there we go. So that's a few more rules settled down there. Okay, so Paragon Titans can talk and think without a pilot on board, but they can't move or use their equipment without a pilot. Can they use passive sensor suites that are hardwired into them that don't necessarily require a reaction time? The reason why I ask this is because Orc Slayers has pointed out we've assumed that and used that in our stories so far. Whatever answer we come to is fine, it just means it's something we need to pay attention to in editing. So can they use
Here's
things like passive
here
sonar sweeps or whatever? Or...
I am going to assume this.
Mhm.
A paragon that is awake or has been awake lately can probably access anything that has its own that can operate within the time frame. Okay, I'll be a tiny little bit nitty gritty about it. The reason a paragon can talk and speak without being in concordance is again because they have developed the ability to think in a time frame that is closer to humans, surely.
Yeah, and I don't think that we need any major issues with that, because at the end of the day, corals, natural coral that nobody's done anything with, manages to sing a song that rises and falls within the space of a day. So if it's an awakened titan, it can think at a reasonable pace.
Again, yes. The point I'm bringing in
Mm-hmm.
is that most of the time you wouldn't want. Okay, the act of concordance and the act of being active on this time frame puts strain on the Titan and the Temps coral matrix. They won't be doing that for fun. Okay, this is one of the points of attack a Titan is vulnerable to. It is a taxing thing to do, both with the support of the pilot and much more so on their own. If the Titan feels in danger or cares greatly about something, then yes, absolutely. But consider this to be a strenuous, exceedingly strenuous activity for the Titan. This is not something they do. It's not like a sleeping person lazily opening up an eye. It is a terminally comatose person forcing themselves awake like a vampire out of torpor. Okay, just to put it to put not to put too fine a point about it. Titans have vulnerabilities.
Yes.
One of them is the fact that concordance is a strenuous thing that you can attack. Kind of like heat builds up in a battle mech. So you can't just leave a Titan on holding pattern and tell it to scan indefinitely. It's not that sort of a machine.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I say, so Titans, let's be specific. Let's do this properly. Paragon Titans can use some sensor suites and similar by themselves. However, this is a taxing thing to do solo without the concordance bond with a pilot, so it's not commonly used and can wear the Temps coral in their systems out way faster than sharing the load with a pilot.
To answer Tile German, can they actually use passive sensor and just to listen to the song for changes? They can, but again, the problem is not listening, is the strain of being awake on working on such time frames. As for Alcon, as for Eric, yes, I have described exactly that in Dead Weight. This is the thought pattern that led to the awakening of Raven Choir. They slowly absorb the psychic arrangement of the pilot. They learn how they operate. And eventually, the Temps coral imprint becomes ordered enough that even the chaotic thinking or timeless thinking of a coral finds a way to resonate with the here and now.
So one of the things that this is going to bring into position then, and it's a valuable thing to write down. Okay, what is going to be true for Titans? Titans, through exposure to a pilot, adjust and align around the pilot's psionics, which allows them to work well with a bonded pilot, but also means when there is a major change to the coral or a new pilot or something happens, the Titan cannot function just as well, just as fast with a new pilot or with changed out coral nodes. This is why it is worth being cautious and considerate with your Titan. They do not just instantly cope
You
with
can't.
change.
For instance, there are no Omni Titans. The way we are working with Max, you can't just lop off a hand, rinse out the old. You can just rinse out the old pilot from your Mac cradle and just put in a new one. You can't just change out a hand. You might have to, but these things take time and effort.
And this also goes into something we've discussed before, which is that when you give a Titan a new weapon, they're not just going to be instantly perfect with it. They take a while to accustomize to that system. Okay, this also goes into why it takes Titans a while to adapt to new systems / weapons introduced to them. However, once they have grown / learned how a certain system works, they can adapt quicker to similar systems, very similar to human learning. Because they're grown things. This is not just machine competence. This is... We have living Titans.
Yes, the technology is living.
Yes.
This is a core foundation to make Shoal our own and alien in a manner that it's not a different computer. It's not a different parsing or computer language. It's a completely different way of computation.
Yes.
Now,
We're not
this
in
is the
binary over here, folks. We've got 2s and 3s kicking about. Somebody did algebra.
We've got fields. Oh,
Okay.
no.
So other things are being brought up in chat. Zymi says, is it symbiotic or parasitic? Is the Titan changed by the pilot or is the Titan changed by the Titan? If so, how? Yes to both. I wouldn't say it's parasitic because neither life form is living off of the other to their detriment. It's more symbiotic, but they're living things, and just like, you know, it's a human thing. When you move into a new community or social group, you know, you're changed by that social group for all of it. I mean, one of the things we have here in this stream is people who've been here for a while know what a stealth atlas is, and that's a funny joke, and occasionally people will pick up the modes of speech of people around you because that's a human bonding thing. We emulate the speech of people we respect and look up to as part of a social bonding exercise. It's the same for Titans and their pilots. Both are affecting each other, but in the same way that people affect each other. And yeah, it makes us reurable. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong, says attunement is a big thing. Yes, and I think that's going to go into partly why some pilots are really good and some pilots are not. You can have all the psionic power in the world, but if you're just an abrasive asshole, nobody wants to work with you, including the Titans.
I'm going to say that in my brain, pilots and titans in modern show are trained in units in which pilots and titans work non-exclusively. So every pilot can work with every titan in the group, but they can't necessarily work with titans that are outside their clade clutch, however you want to call it.
I don't have an issue with that, but we do have a thing with our pilots sort of having their Titan. So although I think that's a good way of doing it. For example, Hordaka from our story. He's clearly bonded with Felonic. The two of them get along well together. They're both new. He's new to the Tide Wardens and has come out of the academy. The Titan is newly awakened. They get along well together. But if it was needed to just move Hordaka's friend Bob's Titan 3 parking spaces down, Hordaka could do that, but it's not his Titan. It's not the one he is as bonded to. Felonic works best with him. He works best with Felonic, but he can move other Titans if he needs to. Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying more than that. I'm saying that in terms of the reason Hordaka cannot pilot Echo, the name of the second Titan.
Okay, yep.
The reason they can't do that or won't be nearly as effective is because they haven't trained with this one. It is designed to a different type of, it has a different personality, etc., etc., etc. What I'm saying
and
is,
Echo's from a completely different clade, completely different architecture, etc., etc. I wouldn't expect Hordaka to know how to use her systems.
they would be able to pilot them, but only on the most basic, and they will have to build up their rapport with the Titan for a long while. What I'm suggesting is more telling about society in Shoal, and is will be telling in my story Pressure Point. You have 4 ceratinoids. You have 4 Calio Trencher Titans. They are numbered 1 to 4. They know and have trained in piloting every Titan in their clade.
Okay.
So they're interchangeable inside their own clade. They still have their own Titan, but they have trained with the others in the concept that this is a more generalized thought that Titans, you can have more than one relationship in your life.
Yes.
Okay, and a fighting unit of 4 Titans and 4 pilots is a fighting unit of 4 people.
Yes.
And they have
and it's more beneficial that if something happens to one, you can still use another to do the thing you need to do.
Exactly. It's not exactly like someone picking up the sniper's gun in a fighting unit, but this is a fighting unit, and Titans are for the most part tools of a dangerous world. And
okay,
this is not Gundam. You have 120 super suits and mooks. This is not the case.
So let's expand this thought out to fully sort of understand what we're saying here. So you've got your 4 ceratinoids, you've got your 4 Calio Trencher Titans. All 4 of them can pilot all 4 of the Titans, so they each have their like individual one that they're best with and have, you know, the best concordance with, perhaps, because they get along the best. What happens when you take one of those ceratinoids and ask it to pilot a library Titan? Is the reason that they can't because they are ceratinoid? Is it because the functionality is so different? Is it a combination of these things? What would stop that ceratinoid from piloting a library titan over here in town?
Time.
Purely just time.
And time and personality matchup.
Okay.
It's okay. You can't take every programmer and put
Yep.
them with every other programmer out there and expect them to shoot sparks. Every programmer that knows how to program a certain language is supposed to go over the code of some other dude and be able to say, okay, this code does this, that, and the other thing. But if you have the two dudes that have worked together for 4 months and got used to each other, they're going to actually perform instead of merely be two different folks that work on the same project and have no rapport.
Okay. So Titans cannot be piloted by people they have not come to know, who do not work in similar ways to what they have experienced before, or are abrasive personality, sync wise, and just cannot achieve a bond to activate the matrix. Okay. Titans can. Okay, I think I've covered that in the bit before. So what I've written down is pilots with suitable psionic ability can bond with a Titan for best results. Many Titans can work with more than one pilot so long as they work in similar architecture / personality / intent. Titans cannot be piloted by people they have not come to know, who do not work in similar ways to what they've experienced before, or are abrasive personality / sync wise and just cannot achieve a bond to activate the matrix. I think this gives me some ideas about our problem with Jake. I'm going to write these notes down while I'm thinking about it before I forget them, and you can tell me what you think.
I will stretch now because Voltroa has redeemed.
Oh, excellent. I will stretch after I write this down, but if I don't get these thoughts out, they will run away from me and I'll never see them again. Thought ninjas, you know. Okay. Hodaka cannot pilot Echo because he isn't a librarian. He doesn't work with that kind of matrix. Echo and he are incompatible in mutual understanding and intent. Umi cannot pilot Echo because he no longer has the specific pilot attunement / tone, and we'll talk about this shortly when we get to this bit, when we get into talking about pilots. But for now, let's just ride with this with me for a minute. Stay with me, chat. Stay with me. Because he no longer has specific attunement tone after his burnout, despite the fact he does have the understanding of how library architecture works, having been attached to a library for some time. Jake is a scientist. He has a similar understanding and intent as librarians. Jake has active psionics. Jake has the ability to bond with Kilo. For all Kilo is more programmed to have grown to support his mentality rather than it being as mutual as with Titans. Jake cannot outright pilot Echo. His psionics are not strong enough and his attunement is only passingly similar. However, he might be able to assist someone else in piloting. Echo, because what he does have can support what they lack. We know it won't be Hordaka. We did, when we were originally talking about the story, have the thought of Umi getting to do a pilot thing one more time, and this being a thing for him. So perhaps what we need to do is just link Jake with Umi to do the job together. All right, that's got those thoughts out of my head. We can now talk about what we think about them and throw them out the window if needed.
Yes, I think your thoughts are good and should be kept inside your head and then put on paper and then be used in the story. But that's fine. I don't know if them cracking Titans open will make them unaccepted by Titans. I mean, most Titans are pretty happy with cracking other Titans open. They don't have a real problem with that. They are seen as co-workers. not as yes, you can kill me. Well, yes, I can kill you too. Have killed people like you.
The concept of kill might be a little bit different as well, because for all of course, we and the Shoali will look at it as, oh my god, you killed a Titan, that's a personality gone forever. I wonder if the Titans themselves might feel a little bit differently, because it's not functioning the way it was before. However, the coral is still alive and is still sensing and adding to the song. It will just become whatever new form it becomes next, and that's still fine.
I think that's a question. I think that's a question to each Titan.
Yes.
And Titans might have subcultures of their own. Aragon specifically, on what they think when they think. But overall, so long as you haven't destroyed a Temps coral inside a Titan, easy. Oh no, Titans have gallows humor. Good God.
I mean, it would make sense, and we did make the whole thing that we wanted our Titans to have their own personalities and be like entities and people in their own right. If we're going to do that, then they deserve to be allowed to have gallows humor to deal with some of the stuff that they get involved in.
Yes, they have one of the basic gallows humor. All of you tiny squishy pilots will die long before I even finish saying my name correctly.
Lictor, you've put that. I've just caught up on chat, and you've put that really well. That's oh my god, you've simplified things so well. This is like the junction system in Final Fantasy VIII. Anybody can use a GF. Can you use it well? No, you actually need to build up a rapport with it, and you'll just be better with some than others.
Yes.
Oh god, I wish we'd just started from there, but so your brain is doing the smarter than mine thing again.
It took me about an hour to get here. Okay, I only managed to outpace. Everyone by 2 logic leaps.
Simon's brought up another thing that we have talked about before. How much is the prior person left within the Titan, like the Trill in Star Trek? Is it a basis of knowledge from prior users? Yes, though not nearly as complex. It's not a case of you can just recall. I mean, okay, there are always going to be exceptions. We do have some Titan cryptids where this is a thing. But yes, Titans recall their previous pilots, are influenced by their previous pilots, and that can influence pilots that come afterwards.
Ed, you're entirely correct.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say, but not well. Kilo is a mirror to Jake's inner self because she was built to support his personality, not to adjust his personality. Whereas with a Titan, the two are influencing each other. I just didn't put it in good words. I have not been wording good lately, mostly because I'm not sleeping enough at the minute and have way too much work on, and my stress levels are through the roof due to family issues, because unfortunately time is a bitch and comes for everybody. And yes, I have some elderly people in my family, and I have not been wording good lately. So please, chat, continue to pull me up on things I haven't explained well.
We are doing well. But we are doing very well. We have 57 people here. Well, what they do around here. Yes, 56 now that I've just opened up my big fat mouth. That are here to listen to Broadway. Yes. Now imagine the fact that some of the pilots have no butts at all. Most of the pilots actually have no butts.
Yeah, we do have some strange species, so butts aren't necessarily as big of a concern as you'd think they might be. Not unless you're being piloted by a laticle.
Or a podlum. Podlums are famous for being bottom heavy. But
let's see what else has been said. Does that mean Titans are Gestalt consciousness? I mean, they end up as the result of kind of that, but it's not like you've got multiple voices all speaking at once. It's more a case of these are things that are ingrained into my matrices and just become part of me. So it wouldn't be Gestalt in that sense.
No, I think we're reading it a little bit. There's a temp squirrel. Okay? There's a core. Consider it a computer or an organic computer running a personality. It gets a flavor. So long as a pilot, and a pilot is your closest friend, it's going to affect you. The experiences you share together will affect you. You will have many, many more memories. And nearly all of your memories will be with your pilot around there, because any other time you're asleep.
Yes.
This is why the pilot affects the Titan. It's not because they are fusing together. It's not a mind sync or some sort of a.
You don't want to do mind meld with the giant stalking thing with the huge sniper rifle.
Whose entire thoughts are built around "let's go kill things." No, thank you. I do it enough in my spare time. I don't need some other brain to do it for me. No, the Titans, it's a mere effect of when all your memories are with that person and all your waking hours are spent with that guy who is actually guiding you and helping you figure your way around the world, you will, every thing you say and remember will be colored by this mutual experience. It's not a mind meld.
I can see a lot of other good things are coming up in chat. Let's see. Where was the one I just saw? So first thing, it might be an issue, if a bigger issue, if a butted creature is trying to drive a Titan configured for a buttless pilot. So that could be an issue with in the moment, but this is why, the pilot's couch or pilot's pod or whatever it is inside is easily switched out for one that matches the correct species. Will this be an issue in the field if you've suddenly had an issue with your, Tide Wardens? Yes, that would be an issue, is can you even physically fit into the cockpit depending on what it's designed for, and that could be a problem we come up with in future stories. Zymi says, if you get a dominant personality, would the Titan be dominated and the weak-willed user be dominated? Yes, this could be an issue, but that's exactly why you have to go through pilot training and aptitude checks. And if you can't balance, if you don't have that right thing, that you can't be a pilot. we've seen what happens when that goes horribly wrong with the sports war, whose name I can't remember without looking it up in the compendium, where everything went a little bit wrong and pilots and titans were getting a little bit too merged into each other before the matrices were properly hammered down to what they are today. So yeah, that can be an issue, but that's why you have to go through pilot aptitude training. Zork says, I'm imagining an abomination core made of fused together bits of different cores. Those are our Chimera Titans, and that is what we're planning on doing to Felonic in our story. And yes, this is why it's a big deal, TM. How do ejector seats work underwater anyway? Good question. Are we even sure we have those on some Titans? We possibly don't.
Okay. Two things regarding the inevitable question about stack poles. Remember back when we started the conversation, I have mentioned 4 portions to what makes a Titan. Titan 4 or 5 portions.
Mm-hmm.
There's the power.
Right, hang on. Let me go up to the top and let me put this section in, and we'll write them all down, and then we can actually write down what each is. So what are the 5 sections, Lictor?
Okay, there's power.
Yep.
There is computation.
Yep.
For computation, there is mobility or movement, maneuverability. There's sensors. There are weapons, and there are countermeasures.
Okay, so do we want to talk about what each of these should be? I think power, we've basically decided that it's the little Nautilus.
Fusion of it.
It's fusion.
Fusion reactor.
Yeah.
Fusion reactor. Tiny, efficient, and wavium galore. I don't want to explain how it works.
That's fine.
Works.
They have little fusion reactors in them. That's fine. All right, what notes do we need to make on computation?
That's the Thames Coral Core. For this basic understanding, we have a lot of what to say about it because it's interesting, but it is what it is.
Yep. Movement comes from a combination of Pons Coral, I believe it is. If I switch back over
bronze.
to... Is it the bronze?
Pons and bronze. I think it's Pons and bronze.
Let me find the section in the compendium, and then we'll get the right ones the right way around. No... This side! I want this side to be... Thank you! Right. Scooch. Scroll. Alright. Pons are the mechanical ones.
Excellent. You were correct. I was stupid. Yes, memory.
Okay, so personality is you need to have Temps Coral fused with Bronze Coral, because it's the bronze that allow personality to happen. Personality with Bronze Coral woven through it. Okay, and then what else do we have? Okay, Parry Coral is what allows... I mean, that's going to be involved in sensors. And also, Parry Coral is needed in the...
computation.
Neural mesh for pilots to interface with the bronze and temps.
Essentially the cradle.
Yeah. Oh, for goodness sake, thank you! I cannot spell today!
Oh, it's
all right, and then temps is our memory coral. Okay, there we go. That accounts for that. All right. So movement is Pons Coral allows the transmission of the instruction, but do we need to have elements in place that are effectively the same as myomas in battle mechs?
That's the Pons.
That just is the Pons just infused with fibrous strands and the like. Okay.
Yeah. The Pons act as myomas. It also acts as there are a shit ton of more specialized underwater, like superheated jets that allows you to burst forward because no amount of swimming will be as useful as jet power, essentially underwater. So the jets, the flippers, the whatever the hell we need and decide to draw.
Okay.
This, sensors. It's pericoral and it is whatever shenaniganry we decide. Active sonars, passive sonars, lidars, psyoptic sensors, whatever. Also, weapons and countermeasures. We've met a bevy of these.
Yes,
We're
yes,
good.
we have. Standalone or fused into other systems like sonar etc. Okay, so we've got all of that. We've got some really good notes now on how our pilots are working, how our titans are working, what they can do, what they can't do. Do we need
And most of this actually is about how pilots are working, and less about
Well,
how
some
Titans.
of it has to do because this is to do with how Titans need pilots and how that interface works. What I'd like to go in the pilot section is talking more specifically about what makes a pilot, because not every Shoaly can be a pilot, and we've talked a little bit about some of it. Pilots have to have a certain degree of sense of self to be able to pilot, so they do not become subsumed by the Titan's personality or the weight of history and other pilots it might carry in its temps notes. Pilots need to have a certain degree of mental flexibility to be able to work with a Titan and its persona rather than overriding the Titan entirely. Because we want this to be a partnership. It doesn't work if it's not a partnership. Things will start to go wrong. All right. What else can we say about what makes a good pilot? What makes people not able to be a pilot? I feel like they need to have a certain timbre or tonal depth or register that they have in their psionics that allows them to pilot that not everybody will have.
I have my problem with.
I'm not saying that it should be something that's rare, but if you want to
No.
become... Go on.
I don't think it's I personally, and that is a pet peeve. Everybody can, punch me, chat, if you think I'm wrong. I have a distinct problem with the idea that you're either born with it or you're not born. This speaks to a very strange mutation.
Okay, I'm not necessarily implying that it needs to be if you're not born with it, that's it, you're out of luck, but more a case of everybody potentially has the potential, but if you don't train it, this is like little Susie is 5 years old and all she wants is to be a Titan pilot when she grows up. Why doesn't she become a Titan pilot? Because everybody wants to be an astronaut when they grow up. Why don't you become an astronaut? Sometimes there are physical limiters, which we have in like our tone deaf etc people, but I just think we need to have something here that we can put into words to say, well, why is it not a case of just we can go, Talia, you can pilot Echo. Why can't Talia pilot Echo?
Okay. I will. My way of looking about it. It's a matter of a few metrics. You have to have the opportunity to train. You have to start going at it when your neuroplasticity is still high.
Okay.
You can start doing that very old and set in your ways. Or
okay.
If you can, you're a rare example.
Okay.
Okay. You need a level of neuroplasticity that is impressive. If you are very close-minded and or have very hard time opening yourself up and creating emotional and social attachments, piloting a Titan is going to be incredibly hard because it leaves you incredibly vulnerable mentally and emotionally.
Okay.
Or say I said it right, you don't have the mental conditioning. You need the mental conditioning to withstand concordance. It is incredibly taxing, and most people will recoil from concordance because it is hard.
Okay. Yeah, I asked the question not to be argumentative, but so we can get settled down what we want to go with. And these are great answers to the question. Okay, so pilots take an aptitude test when they are relatively young to see if they have the right kind of personality type to begin training. See above. So the aptitude test is to make sure that you're not going to be somebody who's going to be subsumed by the Titan or will crush the Titan underneath you. So that's really what the aptitude tests are figuring out. So see
That is
above.
this is the sociometric part. There's
Yeah.
also the very basic resilience part of, I cannot stress this enough. Concordance is hell to go through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun. It's you have to break through to the other part of your training to be able to handle concordance for any length of time, and nobody does that for extended periods until after they have bonded with a Paragon Titan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so pilots then begin training in specialised schools. Some will drop out as they do not have the right mental resilience to withstand concordance and related issues.
Yeah.
Pilots need to start training for the kind of communal bonding work Titan piloting requires while their brains are still relatively young and easy to form. Neuroplasticity. And while there are occasionally older people who move into piloting, this is unusual. Okay. How are we doing with chat? Are we all on board? Are we coming up with any problems?
I really like Silicon Soul's point. Anybody can asterisk pilot an F65 an
An
F60
F-35, yeah.
25. Yes, of course, English. I know that language. Yes. They won't let anyone. They won't let just anyone do it.
Yeah, so this is coming back to the whole, little Susie wants to be an astronaut. Why doesn't she become an astronaut? Technically, anybody can become an astronaut, but many things get in the way and people don't make the cut for all sorts of reasons. And some of those won't necessarily be to do with training. I mean, we've got our tone deaf people on Shoal that counts that. But for example, for me, I could never become an astronaut because as I went through my teenage years, I developed claustrophobia. It's not massive claustrophobia, but I have it. That is not conducive with being an astronaut.
Yes, that is true.
This is not something I chose for myself or trained for myself. It's just a part of who I am, and that just is what it is. Okay, so let's make a note about that. Sometimes things get in the way of becoming a...
Let us all remember that Umi was a pilot.
Yes.
And cannot pilot no more.
For example, claustrophobic people can't be astronauts. Short-sighted people can't be F-35 pilots. Sometimes life just says no. Okay. So we've got that note in there. Alrighty. Space is so big, there's plenty of room. Yes, the spaceship, however, is not so big. There is very little room. You will not move for days at a time. Okay, catching up on chat and seeing what I have missed. All right. Might be somewhat jumping ahead, but how does Jake control his suit? It could be the act of controlling his suit with his mind is similar to directing a Titan. I think we said it was almost entirely unlike, but similar to piloting a Titan. So let's see what Ed has to say, because I'm sure he's chimed in. I think the suit is injected into Jake's electrical impulse system and nervous system via needles. So he does have the impulse suit that translates motion to the suit. We know that's a thing. We do know he also has his neural implant that allows him to connect with Kilo and other things. So in some ways, that's fine. Okay, what's Ed saying? There are non-psionic ways he controls his suit. Yes, because the suit is not designed... Jake's suit isn't designed for people who have psionic abilities. Jake is rare in that regard because humans, it's not something that we commonly have. Jake's suit is designed to be used by normal people. Yeah, he has a skull jack and the NIST suit.
I don't think his suit has any psionic controls at all. Humans don't know how to make these.
Yes. Yeah. Yep, he's got the skull jack, and yeah, so we're all on the same page with Jake's suit in that regard. That's good. Let's see, what else have we got? Little Susie needs to step the fuck up. Yes, get over it, Susie. You can do these things. Learn the difficult math. Get over your claustrophobia. Go to the stars.
Doctor Who was working?
Doctor Who is at Gen Con doing a booth, so yes, I imagine so.
No, he was working with a Q.
Ah.
Working with a Q is...
Spaceships are basically submarines. It takes an extremely specific personality to handle being stuck inside a metal tube for weeks and months on end. Yes, doing very high intellect work in a very physically constrained environment. I love the concept of going to the stars. I love the fact that there is a planet in our solar system that is entirely inhabited by robots with names for aspirational human qualities like curiosity and opportunity and spirit and endeavor and all of these things. That's amazing. And I so wish I could be a larger part of that. But I suck at math and I'm claustrophobic and I'm short-sighted and it's just a thing.
Yep. You're not wrong.
Doctor Who was not working. He was twerking, according to Orc Slayers. I mean, why not both?
I mean, every work is work.
Doctor Who says, was the idea of pilots' aptitude based on notes of their song Shroud being tuned to other specialties or lost discussed? So we have had a discussion. We're very much looking at it as it's not that there's anything unique about a pilot's song that gives them the aptitude or Shroud, because we do have our sleeper titans that will require, you know, people who can pilot them that aren't as specialized. We're talking about it more as it being like a trained skill. And that you need to start training young. And so it's not necessarily that your Shroud or your song will have a unique note or quality to it. It's that you train it to be able to interact with the nature of a Titan from an early age so that you have that skill set, and you need to do it while you've still kind of... you know, you have the neuroplasticity in your brain. Sometimes older people can do it, but that's rare. And I think that's a good way of dealing with it for the kind of messages that we want to push with Shoal. Because we're not really writing a chosen one series of stories, etc., etc. So I do like that idea. Brain is starting to feel like an inverted chalupa. Take it easy, Zork. Thank you for being here.
Now I need to figure out what the chalupa is.
Food stuff. There's a reason why submariners are considered weird by the rest of the Navy. Yes. Yes, you do have to have very specific mental faculties for that. So why is Jake the only option? Well, that's the conversation that we've been having, and that we need to perhaps look at what we're doing there. Because when we originally came up with our bullet point story, one of our thoughts was Jake will be our option, and Jake very briefly pilots Echo. But another idea that we had was that Jake would be instrumental in assisting Umi in doing the thing and letting Umi have one more chance to pilot. And it might be that we need to go down that route. And that's exactly why we needed to have this session this week, is we've hit a stumbling block where we need to make a decision so that the story can continue to make sense with the setting that we're building. So yeah, I do think that we need to have it be that Jake isn't the only option. We need to look at how we use our characters with the rules that we're establishing for, okay, so how do we overcome this problem? And if it becomes a case of, well, this problem isn't solvable this way, then we change the problem. Because the world being consistent and being able to flow through many books still to come is more important than trying to cram an entire setting to fit one story beat in one book.
I'm of the opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Doctor Who. That's exactly what I needed to know. I am going to say that having Jake help Umi will highlight both of them instead of turning Jake to the sole factor of success.
Yes.
I think teamwork is kind of awesome. I'm going to say that it is going to be hell. It's going to show, I think it's going to allow us as viewers to take a look at Jake and lay on the owie that is concordance when you're not prepared for it, the brain blender.
So there will be consequences with a capital C.
Yes, there will consequences. Yes. Thank you, Night Owl, for quoting this.
Jake is stealthy because of his weak shroud, so he can get to the pilot seat. I mean, that would allow for him, yes, getting past the babies that are still in the room if that is the problem. But what we really need to figure out, the hard part, is how are we going to activate Echo using the elements that we have available to us and the rules that we're establishing?
I think that what's going to happen is that they're going to shrouds. Umi is elliptical.
Yep.
He has 4 arms.
Yep.
2 of them are pointing forward and 2 of them are pointing backwards, as per Red German's request. He's going to shunt, because Umi was a psyoptic expert.
Yes.
Moving information around was his entire shtick.
Yep.
He's going to use Jake's relatively young, highly neuroplastic brain, and the fact that he is, well, in a suit that regulates and hopefully keeps him alive process, as to supplement his own failing capacity. They're going to do it together, with Umi providing the experience and guidance, as he usually does, and Jake providing raw human stubbornness and willingness to help.
Okay, so who do we put in the pilot seat to actually do the interfacing, and who is playing the support role?
I think that Umi is the only one who can pilot.
Yeah, I think that's going to make the most sense, because then any physical sort of burnout and issues, etc., Umi, 1, already knows how to deal with that, but 2, we then don't have to think about, well, how do we get Jake's suit to interface with Echo's? We just put Umi in the pilot seat.
Yeah.
I think that makes the most sense. Okay.
And again, This gives us the benefit of of using Jake as a surrogate who is going to sit there and holy crap, is that how it feels like? Howie.
Yeah. And what we
And
could
that
do then, and Ed will be able to give me the information as to whether this would work. If this knocks Jake out, can Kilo give commands to his suit to to physically move him from Echo back to the safety of the tunnel? Is that something that Kilo would have the ability to do? And we will see if Ed is still here and can answer that. I believe Ed is still here because he has been furiously typing away in the Discord, which is wonderful, and I will read all of that presently. Okay, Ed says yes. I think that will be a pretty cool scene, and that gives a interesting look at human technology, that Kilo can just do this while the person that she's bonded to, from the Sholey perspective, is completely knocked out. And that lets us highlight a little bit there. I think that will be cool. Jake is knocked out in the process. Kilo pilots his... Kilo instructs his suit to safety. Chance to highlight difference between AI Kilo and Titan Tech. Cool, so we've now got that note. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's see what else is being said. I gave Laticals
I
double shoulders because I see way too little in sci-fi. Carry on, this is completely fine. How has the interface changed over time? Has tech allowed interfacing to get better, worse, different over the generations of pilots? It's gotten safer over time. During the Forge Wars, when Titans first came into being, things were a lot more direct connection and there were a lot more problems. So yes, interfacing has gotten better over time, mostly to protect both the Titan and the pilot from horrendous dying.
going to say to Zaimi that during the Forge Wars, when you had to wash pilots to an active combat zone, during the latter years, it has been quite terrible, and people did not get enough training, and thus the entire thing. Lately, in modern Shoal, they have elongated and made training more in depth and made the systems take longer. It takes more time to make a pilot, but the survival rates and the resistance to concordance burnout is much higher. So it's a bit of a trade-off. If push comes to shove, you can definitely shove someone into a pilot and hope for the best. But again, you're letting an untested pilot go through an F-35 and hope for the best. So technology has improved, but again, just like because of the difference of in how technology works, it's not that the temp squirrel is somehow now has more switches. It's the training methods and screening for pilots has got a lot. I hope this it cuts across and explains how things can improve.
Does Umi need a special hat to connect to Echo? Yes, all Titans have a neural interface unit, and it will be inside Echo.
Yes, that's the cradle.
Yep, it is part of the Titans architecture. Cool, I think we've solved some of our big problems, which is wonderful. All right, I am going to get up for a brief moment and use the restroom and see if these puppers would like to take a quick leak themselves. When we come back, I'd like to go over all the notes that Ed has dropped on the suit, and we can have and we'll have a brief chat about that. And then after that, we'll see where we're at and if we want to read some non sequitur stuff. But I'm really pleased with the brainstorming that's happened this week. I feel a lot more confident going forward how to continue writing the story. And yeah, bring this all together in the compendium. So yeah, I hope you guys are feeling as good about it as well. This has been incredibly useful. Thank you, chat. So, I'm going to get up for a minute. Lictor, you're in charge. As usual, please
dear
don't blow
God.
anything up. I know you will. Do not let the Singulo loose. It will be fine. I will be right back.
I promise not to let the singular loose. Yes. I never did. Never, not once. Never again. Not even singular loose. Not even once. Now I'm imagining a singulo. Now I'm imagining a singulo with a before and after picture of a singulo contained and a singulo doing crack. Thank you, Orc Slayers. You're the true MVP. Orc Slayers, yes, praise Zorg. I need to sometimes stop and tell you guys how it happened when we in the Orcs, when we played some very weird Dungeons and Dragons games, made Zorg kill the god of middle management. It was a time. It was a time. Yes, Orc Slayers, you do. Delta T, get in the Eva Shinji. I mean, yes. Zyme. Oh yeah, no, Zyme. Shoal is not a post-apocalyptic universe. Shoal is very much a world in becoming. Orc Slayers, yes. One day we'll stop and talk about the wondrous magical place that is Super Florence, and how did Leonardo da Vinci took the Audi Quattro TT and made it fight a blue dragon, and then a Highlander arrived and gave the blue dragon a Highlander burial. It's been an interesting night, to say the absolute least. Yeah. Oh, I see Corbin is here. Excellent. Nothing could possibly go now. Nothing at all. Amazing. It was us talking about. Yeah, no, I understand LTT. You heard me, Corbin. You heard me. Well, Zork took a break, so we need someone else to provide the crimes. For legal reasons. This is a prophecy. Night Owl. What are you doing? Yes, we are being super productive here. Incredibly so. Yes. Wid. Do you, Orc Slayers? Give me one. Make me another one. Explain to me how what we achieved today. Take off pound.
Why is chat full of explosions and singulos?
Don't,
What did you do?
Don't worry.
What did you do?
I summoned Corbin.
Oh no. Oh, that's like worse than anything I said you weren't allowed to do. Good lord.
Look. Don't worry about it, see?
Oh no.
You have been acquired. And you will be put in a perfectly normal briefcase.
What had you cause to say for legal reasons this is a prophecy?
Don't worry about it.
Normal amount?
Don't worry about it. Sincerely. If it makes you feel better, we'll make some good food later.
Oh, I would love some good food later.
We are a food-motivated people.
Yes, I'm very food motivated. Aiden makes amazing Brazilian garlic steak, and it is just like my favourite meal in the whole world, and he made it this week, and it was the best thing.
Excellent. As you can see, everything has been completely normal. The Singulo did not take amphetamines in order to stay awake. It was fine. It was absolutely fine.
I have so
Zorg,
many concerns.
It was fine. Zorg did not arrive to slaughter certain gods. It was okay.
I will get Aiden to make you steak next time we see you, Corbin. This is fine. Alrighty.
Okay.
Oh, Tired German is having a hard week. I am so sorry. If I could blitz it away, I would, and my own and everybody else's. My simplest advice is have a cup of tea about it to start, and then whatever you can do to remove stresses afterwards. And if we're able to help you at all along the way, I would like to. And you do amazing art. I can certainly give you very well-deserved compliments. I can definitely do that. And I am so grateful for all of the effort you have put into Shoal.
So am I. I think it's excellent.
Oh, a whole bad month. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Try to carve out little sections just for you to do the things that are special and important to you. So bad times happen, but good times will come again. I promise. I promise.
Yes. Like I said, for legal reasons, this is a prophecy.
Anka, what have you got?
Oh, Anka has got everything. Okay.
I am going to have to get up for 2 seconds.
That is going to do the thing. Ed has done the thing.
Yes, and we will read the thing momentarily. Give me just a second, because I believe the baby has stolen things.
Yes, baby, they say. Stolen things, they've said. In a British accent. You have given me a war crime? You have given me a war crime? Thank you. I feel so touched. That and finding out that's the shielding. I actually did the research about underwater Tesla cannons, or slayers. If you want, I'll delve into how it works. I talked about it in one of the previous streams, but essentially what you're going to do is you're not going to get a Tesla cannon. However, what you are going to get is super cavitating electrical plasma explosion at extremely short range. It's going to be the pile bunker of the underseas. You're going to punch someone, and then you're going to utterly and completely explodify them in a manner that is befitting of the super cavitating underwater Valstrax sort of a kill move. In a way that will both superheat, supercavitate, and electrocute the poor bastard on the other side of your knuckle bones.
I'm back.
Hyperconductive, supercharged plates. Yeah. Essentially what you're going to do is you're going to build... yes, Eric. You know what? I just wanted to know if you can build a Mjolnir cannon for underwater work. The answer is no, but you can do other interesting things with extreme amounts of energy available. I'll add it to the weapons catalog of Titans later on. The main problem is that every time you use that, it's going to be more like a shock pike in 40k. You have to stab with it, the weapon dies, and you have to pull up another one. You can't even... You're not likely to be able to use that on anything smaller than a Titan because you need the fusion power available in order to cause the electrical explosion to go off. But again, a Calio Trencher already has harpoon launchers with cords attached to them. So essentially, some of these harpoons are going to be for point-blank usage against Titans. You go up to someone, you stab them, and then you inject a tiny sun in between their plates of armor and let the cavitation do the rest. So it's not exactly a war crime. It's just a very, very efficient way of saying no to whatever amount of the carapace you've decided to load your mech with. A fun guy too. I'm a fun person. I don't ever think about violent things.
So I found out what Anka stole. So she has a habit, if their water bowl runs dry, she doesn't woof at it, she doesn't pour at it, she doesn't call my attention to it. She just steals the entire goddamn water bowl and hides it somewhere. And when I say water bowl, we have one of those water bowls that you then upend a water container into. So, it filters down over time as they drink it. So this is not a small thing that she steals. She managed to drag it out of the enclosed beagle pen, all the way through the kitchen, all the way through the living room, and into the soft crate in the corner of the living room. And that was what I heard. Yeah, she did also steal my heart, but she now has fresh water.
And a heart.
And a heart, yes. I mean, in a jar on her desk.
Kalima requires a heart.
Alrighty, let's take a look at what Ed has done for us, and then we will go from there. So, I have some information. What I'm going to do, I think, is... let me copy-paste this, because if I bring it up on screen, then people can see it, and then if anybody... Because some people in this chat are crazy and occasionally like to partake of the VODs of my streams. I should say our streams, because Lictor's nearly always here. So you'll be able to see it up on here. Alright, suit notes. Possible resolution to suit consistency issues. Jake's suit comes in two parts. 1. An inner scuba-like suit that directly sustains Jake. This is the circulation suit proper. 2. An outer aquatic exoskeleton designed to protect divers on ice moons and support power-hungry payloads. This is the Caliban Roughneck exoskeleton. The circulation suit contains the following systems. Artificial lung system directly oxygenates the user's blood. This is the core of the circulation suit. Connects to circulatory systems via implanted stint battery. So the battery I think is a separate thing. Provides several hours of operation at minimum. The existence of coil guns as a standard firearm implies extremely dense power storage, so this could itself needs more investigation. Modern batteries also need investigation. Yeah, and I know we talked about the little nautiloid batteries that we have on Shoal and how they can be useful for certain things, and that might be a specific adaptation that Jake's suit has to just make it more viable on Shoal, making his suit pretty unique. Nis suit.
Suit is unique.
Okay, the NIS suit, or the impulse layer, monitors muscle use to better estimate oxygen use. Heating system, it uses waste heat to heat suit. Liquid is circulated throughout the suit. And it also could, I think one of the things we talked about was it kind of translates muscle twitches into supporting motion from the suit itself. Okay, it has a pony tank for short dives, for buoyancy management, like with scuba gear. The exoskeleton contains the following systems. Thrusters, less excursion equals less oxygen used. It has artificial muscle, same logic as thrusters, also designed for clearing ice on ice moons. Armour is not mil-spec, but good enough to survive getting crushed by ice in ice caves. It has ballast tanks for neutral buoyancy. It has a power source, which we've discussed that already. And a power generator, either fuel cell or helium-3 cold fusion reactor. Which, yes, we're completely fine with that being the level of tech that's just going on in general around the Shoaly universe. And then it uses hydrolysis, turns water into oxygen and hydrogen. Hydrogen could be captured to later use, and it has an umbilical to provide power and oxygen to the circulation suit. Okay, that sounds pretty good to me. We've got some more notes from Ed. Ed also said, the exoskeleton is not strictly required and could be cut, but including it saves us efforts of rewriting the story. The idea is that these exoskeletons are used by humans on ice shell moons underwater to safely work in their oceans, protecting against loose ice and collapsing ice caves. Jake's would be retrofitted for scientific work on Shoal and is what carries most of his scientific instruments, including the sonar array he mentions late in the book. Yeah, and I think that's a good idea, especially as Jake's heading into waters where he doesn't know what the exact threats will be. I mean, although he's got Shoaly records on it, etc., wearing a protective layer in the exoskeleton would just be sensible, especially as there could be, collapsing architecture, etc. So, yeah, that just makes sense.
Hasten to add that you need counter pressure because the exolung system means that the body is far better at dealing with the pressure of using it. However, again, just like concordance, the usage of the suit, especially its exolung, means that it is hard to use, which is why he requires his aerated habitat. So essentially, he can't stay in the suit indefinitely. Eventually, he needs to go out and remind his lungs that they work with oxygen.
Yes, you just can't live in it all the time. But the expected duration of the expedition plus a little bit should be within operational limits.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's not built to be stupid. It's just it has certain limitations in order to make it interesting.
Okay, let me read the last of Ed's notes and then I'll come and catch up on what chat is having to say. The circulation suit would likely be manufactured by a company related to AV/directed evolution. Would be custom fitted to Jake in exchange for any data he and Kilo collects, which is where the Foresters get a lot of the funding gear from. Jake having the training and implants to use it makes him equivalent to rebreather divers, if not elite tech divers. With regards to the hab, there's a rigid diving bell that Jake sleeps in and is the core of the hab. There could also be an inflatable garage that is pressurized to ambient pressure. Jake would need his suit to breathe safely, or at least an oxygen mask. The garage would need a massive weight, as it would have positive buoyancy, but this gives us a moon pool at depth. Personally, I would make all of Jake's living space a rigid tube, as the 1 atmosphere environment would make it buoyant and easy to move, and hydrodynamic drag would be the only issue. Deflating the hab makes it less buoyant and effectively heavier, not to mention increasing system complexity and work for Jake. A collapsible hab with some sort of unspecified tech to do so is cool in its own right, though. I feel like that with regards to the hab, we might need to have just a little bit of hand wavium there for it to be transported on Echo, and we maybe have just a little bit of hand wavium there. But that is all of the wonderful notes that Ed took the time to write down for us. So yeah, let me come and catch up on chat and see what you guys are saying. Some quick research says that enough voltage dumped in the water would turn it into plasma, which would sting a bit on skin contact. Good to know, Wilf. Thank you. I'm sure you guys weren't at all designing weapon systems while I was away. Does Shoal have any radioactive elements native to it? I would imagine so, yes. I mean, it's a highly radioactive area of space in general, so I have no issue with us putting radioactive materials on the surface.
I mean, the isotopes exist. High gravity planet.
Okay, Simon says, how does it interface to the circulatory system? Recycling, oxygenating blood, airway integration, like being intubated, controlling breathing and airway. That is one of the things that we will need to sort of figure out is exactly how does this affect Jake and his native ability to breathe? What mechanism are we using so we describe it correctly when we dwell on it at the beginning of the book?
I'm going to have to leave.
Okay.
So I'll put my 2 cents about this because this is something I did research about.
Yes.
I will return to the option I posited back back when we first talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
The artificial lung system has a stunt that goes directly into the bloodstream. The lungs are essentially artificially being turned off via impulse control
Mm-hmm.
and filled with a essentially liquid that is inert and provides back pressure to prevent the body from collapsing instead of having to save the body in basic barometric fluidity. It is the hand waving happens here is that the point being is that the technology is advanced enough to allow intubation and control directly enough to allow Jake to continue think that he is breathing to prevent stress while also providing all the oxygen directly to the blood via exfiltrating the blood, circulating it, and returning it to the body.
Yeah.
Oxygenated.
So here's what I think
It
we
is.
will do. It's 2:00 my time, which means it is 5:00 elsewhere in the world. This is something
Yes.
that we had a big discussion with at the beginning. We didn't settle on anything. Lictor's got to go right now. So what I think is anybody who wants to have a weigh-in on what we do with this specific system of what Jake's breathing looks like, feel free to drop it in the orcs. When we come back next week, we'll discuss it as our first thing and we'll do a poll where we figure out what we're doing. And then that will be the thing we use going forward. No matter what choice we make, I know there are going to be some people in chat who are going to be unhappy, whether it's that we go with the liquid system or whether we don't. There's going to be people on either side of the fence. So I think we're just going to have to come to what the biggest group consensus is overall, and then we work out from there. But I want to give people some time to sort of have a think about it, because I know a lot of you are very sort of engaged in some of the scientific implications of this to probably a larger degree than I'm capable of. So we'll give this a week and we will make the final decision next week, because I can continue writing without needing this answer right now, this minute. Does that sound reasonable?
I think so.
And then
I
that will
also
let
have-
everybody get their thoughts out in the orcs without putting stress on Lictor for his time, because, you know, I would like all of the major players and people who want to be part of this discussion. And Zymi, if you are willing to drop notes on intubation in the orcs, I would be very interested to read it and what that might look like for this scenario. For anybody who's here and doesn't know where to find stuff, if you head to the Auxiliary, our Discord that is linked to all the nonsense that goes on here, you will find a channel in the creative writing section called General Shenanigans. And you can let me know any thoughts you have there. I would love to hear more thoughts on, you know, what you guys think would be good, what you think wouldn't, and why. We can have the discussion at the beginning of next week, make a final decision. And once again, for anybody who doesn't agree with whatever we come to, by all means, have your own gumbo on the side and write stories where it works differently. I am not going to be upset if people do that. That's completely fine. Alrighty. Let me see where we are at, and specifically where I am at, because I have lost everything. Oh God, what am I doing? I can't find buttons. Ah, that would be why. I'm looking in completely the wrong place. This is why I can't find what I need. Right, Lictor, if you need to jet, please, by all means, do so. And there he goes. Okie dokie. So I think what I will do for this week, we've had a good time. We've done some things. To the best of my knowledge, BB is going to be here within the next half hour to an hour. So it's whether you guys want to just call things here, or whether you want me to read you some completely unrelated to Shoal nonsense. And, you know, what you guys want to do. But I am quite happy. We've done a good 2 hours worth of work. I am very appreciative of all 60 of you who are here. So... I'm happy to do whatever you guys want to do. Or if you have some other writing topic you would like me to rant about for a brief period. Let me have a look at what's going on over in the Legion Discord for the channel. Okay, so Striker is currently at Gen Con, which means that we will not be starting the Goob Drive during Striker's stream. So it will either be with somebody filling in, or it might start later on today with whatever stream comes after mine or whatever. So it will be coming within the next 24 hours. For those of you who have joined us since we started the stream today. Back at the beginning of the year, there was a bachal issued to the auxiliary for your talents and creations, and amazing things were supplied. And the winner of the challenge was given the dubious option of helping direct where the next Goob Drive would go. That was Ibex, who you can find over in the Orcs under the unique title of Gundam Lord for his efforts. He has given me the direction for what I should be drawing, which I will be beginning in this upcoming month. It's very cool. I like the ideas that he had. It's going to honour all of the work you guys put in at the beginning of the year. And so we will be starting our Goob Drive. Last time we did one, you guys raised 8 million Goob in 3 weeks, which is stupid and insane and ridiculous. So this time, we're asking for 9,000,001. We are also, because we are now partners with Twitch, debuting the event badges that they now let us have. So if you watch during the next month for 5 hours or more, you will get a special badge. If you purchase subs during the next month, I don't know how many, it's not a ridiculous amount, I know that much. You will get a unique badge for joining in on our nonsense. And of course, if we hit the goal, even if we have to go a little bit over, we'll see how we go. But knowing you lot, we will hit the 9 million somehow. There will be an art piece coming out that celebrates all of the effort you guys put in at the beginning of the year that we are very appreciative of. There's going to be another Goob Drive in December, so I am going to be feasting on Goob for the rest of the year. Expect that to start within the next 24 hours or so. Well, I mean, we have raised the Goob cap. We are asking for 9,000,001 this time around, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I can see we've got lots of things still coming in. So yeah, but by all means, drop these thoughts in the Orcs so that we can debate them next week, if you would like to. If you don't want to, that's also fine. I'm not your mum. You do what's right for you. This is fine. We ought to be able to give more Goob at a time. We're not... Okay, that's the Goob cap, you mean. We can't. That is hard limited by Twitch. If we could, we would have adjusted that and etc. Because, of course, you know, it's a whole economy that's sort of going on. And they only allow X amount of management of that economy on the channel users side. A lot of it is just managed by Twitch. We don't get a choice about how much you can donate at once. I mean, if we could change the contribution cap, there are a couple of members of our chat that could just pay the whole thing in like a week because of how much they've got stored. We don't get that choice. That is something Twitch sets on their side. There is nothing we can do to change that. So, yeah, the cap is the limiting factor, exactly. And there is nothing that Diggs or anybody else on the channel side can do to adjust that. It is purely a Twitch decision. Yep, that's it. Yep, take your pitchforks to Bezos' house and tell him how much you appreciate this wonderful service that lets us all have a wonderful time. Yes, it is Twitch's decision, not ours. So, I haven't seen anything untoward happening in channel, so we should have BB at the normal time with more Xenonauts, I believe. You guys will have a lovely time with that, I'm sure. Hopefully many rookies will die. That is the way of things. The Goob hole hungers. It does. I mean, I need to get up my Goob stores to see me through the winter. Until I decide that it is spring and I may emerge from my Goob hole once again. They limit it to ensure we have to be present for as many streams as possible. Yes, that is the thought that they have on their side, which doesn't take into account the thought of, yes, but if you have a popular channel and many people turn up for many streams on a very regular basis, which we have because we have the best community on Twitch. You guys are amazing. It's very easy for people to end up with so many millions of goob that goob just doesn't mean anything anymore. So it means that the rewards you offer for it don't have the value that they would have if you had a way of taking goob out of the economy effectively. So it's I understand why they do it from their side. However, it doesn't necessarily always support what's happening on the streamer side in certain ways. But we are a pretty unique channel with the variety content that we have and the things that go on over here that you're all very patient with. So I hope the art piece will be worth your time and effort. I've designed the badges for this event. I know what the badges will look like for the December event, and hopefully you get some enjoyment out of that. We will see how we do. We will see how we do. Alrighty. 60 of you here. I appreciate everybody coming along. I think I will call it here instead of just dropping some random nonsense on you this week, because a lot of people are still thinking about shoal specific things, which is wonderful. And again, I really appreciate you guys building a communal setting with me. I absolutely love communal writing. I love what comes out of it that I'd never have achieved on my own, and shoal belongs to all of us as a result. So if you have thoughts, drop them in the orcs. If you don't, that's fine. We'll talk about this next week and then see where our heroes have gotten to with all the stuff that we did work out this week as a group. And I appreciate the brainstorming on that from everybody. This has been fun. I'm going to get out of here. Have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy BB when she's here later. Enjoy Bulk after that. I will probably see most of you for wrestling on Sunday, which I think Hausakar has managed to bully into behaving itself and running. So we should have wrestling on Sunday unless it does something really stupid again. So please cross fingers, toes. I will see you then. And yeah, next Friday we will solve the rest of our problems. Thank you very much. And good afternoon.